Welcome back, everybody. We're here for another, what did we call it last time? Our special commentary, our excellent insight into the latest round of our team endurance race.
Hopefully we can return to winning ways, having not won the last two. It's been round 4. We already knew from qualification that we didn't have the fastest car in a straight line, but not the worst, unlike some of those qualifying at the bottom there. So we'll start off with Lewis in the car, coming in at the second stint, taking over from Rich.
Yeah, we had some trouble with the camera, didn't we, for Rich's stint, so that's why we don't quite have the full race, because we did miss a bit of good action from Rich. Some supreme elbows out defending, but yeah, we'll pick it up with Lewis.
Opening that, overtaking a few, but no position change yet. Obviously, being an endurance race, field spread is massive, and even after the first stint, half hour-ish, we'll see it to make a difference now.
I think the thing with this as well, like, you can really see that we didn't maybe have quite the top end, because Lewis is great through the corners and gets a bit of a gap on this guy behind, but then all the time down the straight out of Luna he's right back on Lewis's tail and giving him trouble. So not the best kart, but like you say, it wasn't terrible.
Yeah, and at least there it seems he's working with Lewis a little bit more, not making lunges on him. And as I say that,
I mean, that was kind of fair. He'd caught right to the back of Lewis, hadn't he? But Lewis holds it well, actually, and takes the inside of the corner.
Yeah, just need that extra bump draft getting in front of these down the straight. So, and we watch them reels in nice and easy.
That's what I mean. It's so evident sometimes when you come out of Luna and you just feel people on the back of you again. It's like, oh, this is going to be a long day. And particularly for us, where it's 2-hour endurance, that sort of stuff makes the difference.
Yeah, backmarker not too happy there with one of Lewis's overtakes, but looked clean enough to me.
Oh, I don't know. Lewis has got a wrap, hasn't he? So
yeah, we're not like some of the other teams at Three Sisters. A couple of our drivers are getting a little bit of a reputation now.
I think the guy behind here is the team that ended up finishing second, if I remember rightly. They had a really quick kart on the day, so they were pretty close and battling with Lewis, but he does well to keep them behind him and keep the corners.
Yeah, they already had a look at the full version of this video, available from my channel. Good little bit of battling if you want to see more of that. It is nice as well watching the rear view cameras for that exact sort of thing. The battles that you didn't know were happening behind you.
I think as well, sometimes with this, if you just look forward, sometimes you think, oh, actually this is a nice clean easy race, you're just pottering along, putting in some nice laps, and then when you're looking at the rear view camera, it's like, geez, it is all going on behind. There's so much pressure, so much competition going on between 2 or 3 drivers there. And, yeah, the rear view does a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, rear view gives you definitely that, what's going on, what you didn't know was happening. If you can combine it with both cameras, really gives that full perspective.
It's really fun as well.
Another nice move.
It's really fun to watch these, because I find when we're just sat in the pit lane watching along, you get to see, like, I don't know, a tiny little portion of each driver's race, because they just as they fly past you on the pit straight, and watching this is Yeah, so many close battles. Lewis is holding off wheel nuts here. I think they went up the inside there.
Yeah, I think that's them after they've exchanged their kart. So they had a really poor kart for qualifying, putting them a few seconds down on what they'd expect each driver to do. So when they changed over, they definitely came through the field quite rapidly.
Speaking of changeovers, here comes young Simon into the third stint of the race.
Yeah, and I think this is pretty much the out lap, or it might have been one lap afterwards. But for once, we're making an overtake at the end of a straight, which probably the last time I think I do that on this race. It was all through the corners, as we saw with Lewis's stint. But you can see here having to hold up that driver now.
Yeah.
So getting a little bit of a bump. Which way? Going up the outside inside,
sending it.
He runs a bit wide and get another little bump. Oh, actually, one thing I forgot to mention. When I actually came out from the pits, I didn't have the seat in the right place, and where you're seeing me grab the top of the steering wheel is me trying to readjust and bring the seat forward, but it failed 3 times in a row. And so a couple of times going into the last bend, I was really on the edge of my seat, just trying to hold on from sliding out. So these first few laps were a bit worrying, and it was actually getting to the point of I thought I was probably costing myself time, and it was going to be, I can't do this for half an hour. At what point do I pit to just get the seat right?
I've had that. It's so frustrating because it's so difficult to adjust mid-race, but you get there in the end.
Yeah, I think I was trying to do it down the straight. It's the only place you can really get away with it. Just working our way through.
Some tight competition through these corners.
Yeah, I think that's just a back marker as well though, so slowing us down. That's one thing I've noticed as well, compared to some of the other teams that we were competing with on track, we seem to be a little bit more efficient at getting through the back markers. Whether or not that's luck on where we're finding them on track, but did notice a few times, like when Walnuts comes through, just get held up a little bit more. Yep, there you go, hand at the top of the wheel there at the end of that clip.
Yeah.
And here comes GYG, so these were the leaders, and I think they were already a lap up on us from the first stint.
Yeah, they were.
Such a quicker car in the straight, but able to take advantage through the corners.
And you end up actually having a really close battle with this guy, don't you? I mean, I know they're a lap ahead, but you were back and forth between you.
I could see that he was a lot quicker on the straights than we were, but through the corners, when he was actually in front of me, he was holding me up. So I was trying to get us to work together. See him just getting swarmed. Just trying to block in 11 for a little bit, and then he decides to take number 20 for a little spin. We have to go around the outside of him. Didn't get a penalty for that, or even a warning, which I was surprised at.
I think you had a little bit of commentary in your helmet there as well.
Yeah, always got to make it one of those comments just to remind myself for these. See, moving on, lap 78 now. Again, making the move on the corners, and I think this time he will give me a bit of a bump draft.
Yeah, I think he probably realised they were much quicker down the straight too, but he never really got away from you, did he? You were always, like you say, you'd catch in the corners and make up ground, and then he would fly past on the straight.
Yeah, and here's Will Nuts coming through for the second time, so unlapping themselves against us now. And
well, I think that's actually for position, wasn't it, in the end?
yeah, I think this one's position.
Do you know what? They did such a good job. When they started out, they were dead last or almost dead last after the first few laps, and a full 1 or 2 seconds off, and then made the decision.
I think they just had some back markers behind them, but as you were saying, or about to say, making that decision to change the car early on.
It made such a difference. They were suddenly back in the race, and I mean, fair play to their drivers, because they did a really tremendous job of just putting, hard, fast laps in. But yeah, it was a good decision to change, because they would have been nowhere in the kart they qualified in, I don't think.
Yeah, I think it was less than 20 laps of the new car, and they were already making up most of that pit time.
You're just battling back and forth.
For some reason they decided to brake at the end of turn 3, and so whether or not that was trying to take my speed away through the one point where we had some speed.
It's still really close though. For being a lap up, they never really get away at all.
Yeah, I gave him a little bump there.
And you just kind of keep them close.
So I thought I'd wave him through. I probably didn't want him to wave him through, as you say, with the speed that they've got. But he decides to take it to the exit curb. Easy move.
Nice, easily done.
The other thing that's actually quite interesting from that rear view camera is watching when they're braking, when they get right up behind you like that.
Yeah, they seem to let off a little bit before the end of the straight sooner than you do, I think, because there's a little tiny gap that gets pulled each time. But obviously he's got such straight line speed up to that point. I think they're pretty generous of not trying to keep sending it on you every lap when they maybe could have down that straight.
Yeah. I don't think they even need to send it. Look at that overspeed.
That's what I mean. It's just, every time. He did stick behind you for a few laps there where he maybe could have done the same. But yeah, it's just sensible, clean racing, really.
And it's not like I'm making moves that are costing us too much time, although I think at one point I did get the use your brain from the team on the pit wall.
Well, I think it was me as well, because obviously all we can see is we can just see you battling at the final corner in the straight.
Yeah.
So I think all we were trying to tell you is you're not battling him. Because they were a lap up. It's if you are. I think the challenge with endurance races like this that I often find is you never really know who you're battling.
Yeah.
Because like here, for instance, you two are similarly matched. It's not like he's flown away from you like you might expect a leader that's a lap up to do. So it's quite easy for you to be like, well, this could be second or third that I'm kind of competing for. So I think that was just the be sensible, use your head thing, because it's, you're not competing with them really.
Yeah. So that's why I wasn't defending him. I thought that was quite a nice move. Tried defending, managed to sneak up the inside.
Lovely on the inside. Yeah, that's nice.
But yeah, I wasn't trying to defend anywhere, so I was trying not to cost myself too much time. That one I was defending because I thought that was actually a race for position.
Yeah. And in we come.
Over to you. So Lewis giving you a bit of a shoveler, getting you going.
Yeah. And I come right out behind GYG, so we pitted both at the same time. And obviously the only unfortunate thing here that you can't really see is that GYG just went clean away from me, unfortunately. Particularly down the straight on that first lap, he built a nice gap, and then that was it. I didn't really see him again.
If we had any hope of keeping them in touch, you either need to be in front of them down the straight or right up behind them, trying to get a little bit of draft to tow us along. Otherwise, once you're out of the draft, we were so much slower in the straights.
Yeah. Well, the thing is as well, I guess I didn't really push it because I was coming in for that stint. I knew those guys were a lap ahead, so I wasn't desperate to, keep close to them or do anything like that. But yeah, it's one of those. I was on the final stint of the race, so again, I've just literally no idea who I'm racing, who I'm competing with. I'm just trying to be quick, try and do some clean laps and overtake as many cars as I end up seeing. But again, you kind of get suckered into that. If I can see a driver that I'm slowly catching but not quickly catching, I think, oh, am I competing with them? Do I need to push? Am I going to go for them? Yeah, I think at this point, as we kind of get into the latter stages of the race, Wheelnut's team had a bit of a problem, didn't they? They got called into the pits, a loose or an undone helmet strap, and as soon as that happened, I mean, you can't see it on the rear view camera, but I could see it through the visor. Lewis frantically waving at me from the pit wall, urging me on, telling me to hurry up because we'd gained a position, and I, at the time, had no idea what he was talking about. I thought he was wanting me to overtake the car in front and close on them, so I had no idea that Wheelnuts had been pulled into the pits and had to battle. But here we get to see Three Sisters lap record holder Tommy Lee give me a good chase, and this was some perfectly timed, I don't know, what do you call it, like a pace marker, because he really pushed me to my limit, and I knew it was Tommy behind, so I knew that if I could keep him behind and I was being quick, then I was probably being quick. But when I watched it back, I thought, oh, Tommy's very generous. If we were in an actual race together, he would have gone past me well and truly before that.
Oh yeah, you could see at the end of the straights he was lifting off a bit as well. So
yeah, it was being very generous.
He was out testing that car, and clearly because I think someone had moaned about it, but clearly our car was a little bit worse.
Yeah, it's definitely that, mate. It's definitely not me versus Tommy, and Tommy's just a better kart racer. It's it's definitely that. I like your analysis. Spot on.
Bring it home in third, thanks to that little bit of fortune for us, misfortune for Wheelnuts.
Good result all round, though.
Yeah, considering what we had to work with, I think getting third, consistency was really good.
Oh, where did we come, Lewis? Yeah, excellent result.